What is going on? In this video, let's talk about roofing keywords. I will do some research. We'll look at the best roofing keywords and how you can think of your roofing website, right, and how to break it up. But I'll also show you the process. So if you're not a roofer and you're watching this, there's going to be a lot of educational kind of how to do this for any business, but I'm going to focus on roofing and also kind of give you a breakdown of what you can expect for roofing SEO, for local SEO. So we're going to start here and let's go through it. All right, cool. So this can be done with any tool. I'm going to use Ahrefs to do this plan. And but like I said, any tool, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Google Keyword Planner even potentially can be used to do this. But what we want to do is start by getting a list, okay? Now, different tools work different ways, so you need to know how your tool works. But the way it works in Ahrefs is we need to have every option for our business. And what I mean by that is if I search for roof in the keywords here, then it's not going to give me roofing and roofer, right? So I need every option. So no matter what your business is, you have to start with everything that somebody may use as a variation of the word, or you're going to miss a lot of potential keywords. Now for roofing, there are a lot. So we want to have roof, we want to have roofs, we want to have roofing, we want to have roofer, and we want to have roofers. And that should do what we need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Boise here as our city. But you can do this, you know, with any city. What we're going to start though is just getting an idea of what the searches are. And then we can break those down. So what we're looking for here is unique searches. Now that doesn't mean we don't want to acknowledge and look at the searches that are not unique, but we want to break this down by services, right? And I'll explain that here in a little bit, but let's grab some of these. So we have roofing Boise here. We can see the search volume has 300 searches a month with an 18 keyword difficulty. So let's throw this here. I'm going to grab our headers really quick. So we have those. Great. And let's do this again. Okay, so we go. Okay, we have roofing Boise, Tin Roof Tacos. That is a taco place, obviously. Okay, roof repair. I'm going to grab this one. Now, what we can see here is we have a variation. This is our first kind of variation. Boise, roof repair, and roof repair Boise. So now for my purposes, where we are right now, I only want to grab one keyword for each service. So each unique service will have its own keyword, and I'm going to skip over anything that's a duplicate because I'm not going to create a page that's roof repair Boise and a page that's Boise roof repair, or those are going to cannibalize. They're going to eat each other, right? Because they target the same thing. So we're going to skip Boise roof repair. Now we have roofing companies Boise. I'm going to grab this and we'll discuss what we're doing here with that. Roof replacement. Okay, that's interesting. That's good. Okay, roofing companies. We already have that. Roofing companies, roofing contractor. We don't have that. So I'm going to grab this, even though once again, we'll discuss what that means. Companies, best companies, Boise roofers. Well, that's unique, I guess. And I'm just going to keep building this list out and then we can talk about it. Contractors, metal roofing. That's good. Okay. Roof replacement. I believe we have replacement already. Replacement, company, roofing, company, signature. That's a company. Contractor, roof repair. Okay. Roofing contractors, residential roofing. That's unique. Okay. Emergency. Now, commercial. All right. So let me stop here and let's kind of go through how to select, right? How to select what matters. Now, my end goal here is to create pages. Okay, so let's say page. We're going to put a page here. That's my end goal right now, right? There's going to be a lot of keywords that are going to be synonymous, right? And I don't need to worry about those. What I'm trying to do is create a website and pages on the website that target specific keywords that are relevant to my business and the location that I'm targeting. Now, whether this is your primary pages, right? So for instance, maybe roofing Boise will be my homepage, roof repair will be my service page. That's one way that this could go. Or maybe my homepage is location neutral because I have multiple locations, or maybe my business is located in another city, and so my home and other pages that are the primary pages are all going to be targeting a different city, and this roofing Boise is going to represent another silo or another, conglomerate of pages that are going to represent the searches that are for this other city that I offer services in. So, there's the city next to Boise is Meridian. Maybe Meridian is where my business is located, and that's the number one target for my business. So that's the top level is targeting those. And then I have this silo, right, where Meridian says, here's other cities we serve. One of those links to Boise roofing, right? And then within the Boise roofing section of the site are all of these Boise roofing services. Now, that brings me back to cannibalization. I don't want to target the same search twice. Now, this is what's interesting about Google, though, that you need to understand. Google still may choose to put pages on its search that are not the direct page you're trying to rank for. Let me step back from that. Google understands that even though you have all these pages about roofing, that a customer may actually prefer a specific page. Typically, that's like your homepage, right? So I may have a page here that is specifically targeting roof repair Boise, but when I go to search on Google for roof repair Boise, it's my homepage that's showing up. What's happening is Google has taken all the pages on your website to understand your business and what you do, and then made a decision for what's going to work best for the customer, right? And that's why you'll often see someone's homepage or these general roofing pages showing up for a search, even though you have a page that's targeting roof repair and your competitor has a page that's targeting roof repair. It doesn't mean that page is not helping, right? It means that Google is gathering data about what you do first, then determining who's going to be in the rankings, and then sorting rankings, right? So it's not all happening in one step. So with our content on our site, we're not necessarily trying to rank for a keyword, although that's the goal. What we're trying to do is create content around every idea that is a unique idea so that we can be selected when somebody searches for that service or problem, and then we can one of our pages can be taken, put in the rankings, and then hopefully, end up in the #1 spot based on other factors, right? But we're not even going to get into that. We're not even going to get considered for the rankings if we don't have content around the problem and the city or the service, right? If we don't have content around that to signal to Google that, yeah, this is something we do and we want to rank for it. So hopefully that makes sense. So first we need content. Then don't worry about what page Google chooses to rank from your content, your pages and your supporting content. You're just using that content as a way to give a signal to Google that you want to rank for this term. And that's why we want to choose rankings or pages that we want to create based on keywords that are going to be unique services or ideas. Now, so what we want to do is get rid of anything that isn't, or call it a secondary keyword, meaning that's something we can target secondarily from the same page as a primary keyword. Now, what I do is I just want to target the highest search volume keyword, right? Because I'm trying to force rankings on Google Maps over Google search first, primarily. So I'm not concerned as much with trying to rank #1 in organic search, which is picking a keyword and long tail in that. I'm just trying to give Google the best signals for my business. So we start with this page, Roofing Boise. So whether or not that's my home page, right, or a page on my site, I want to have a page that is roofing for the city of Boise. So general roofing services for the city of Boise. And typically this is a page that's going to be at the top of a silo where all of the other pages under it will support it, right? So general roofing, and then all of the specifics that can go under that to support the content. And where do we find that? Based on what people are searching for. If people aren't searching for it, I'm not going to waste my time creating content around it. I want to target searchers and what they're already doing. Okay, so now we have roof repair in the city of Boise, roofing companies. That is not a different idea. So I'm going to put that over here. I can go back through later and add roofing companies to my text all throughout the website, especially on this roofing page, right? But it does not represent a unique idea. Now, could this represent a unique idea? Yes. If you have the strength in you to make a page on your website about all of the roofing companies in your area, including all of your competitors, and then also you, that actually is not a bad idea. That would make roofing companies now a completely separate idea. But I don't like to do this. I don't like to agitate the competition at that level. But that gives you an idea of how you could make this a unique idea. Otherwise, I'm just going to target this as a secondary search, right? And try to get my company to show up when it shows roofing companies, right? But if you can make the content unique, then it's unique, right? So that's always something in the back of your mind. What is the customer searching for? Well, they're probably looking for a list. They might be looking for a list of companies. So if you want to give them that, you can, but that becomes a little bit of a squirrely situation in my mind. So now we have roof replacement. That represents its own service. Okay, roofing contractor. So once again, this is what I would call one of these secondary keywords over here that I might mix into a page, but that is basically just roofing company, roofing contractor, roofing company, a more general term. So, okay, Boise roofers, similarly, right? So I don't really need to add these to the list. This is where things though start to get interesting again. So now we have metal roofing, right? So why is that unique? Because any kind of search for a specific product, service, style, that is all a completely unique. Someone is looking for not general roofers, right? They understand that a metal roofer or somebody who does metal roofs, why would the customer search that? Because in the customer's mind, they're worried that not all roofers do metal roofing. So if you want to increase the percentages that you show up for the search and that you can convert that customer, you want to make sure that you have a page about that. And since there is a lot of search volume, 150 people a month are searching for metal roofing, that is a good page to have. Residential roofing, okay? In the city of Boise. Emergency roof repair in the city of Boise. Commercial roofing, Boise. Now, this is where I used to get really tripped up, right? Like, what if residential roofing is there but not commercial, right? Or what if like emergency roof repair, does that mean we need emergency roof replacement and don't get locked into trying to make 100% of the content that you think is important to fill in all of these logical gaps. It doesn't need to be done that way. Take the search volume, make the pages that are unique and move on. This is a signal. It doesn't need to be so thorough that you break yourself on the logic, okay? Take the search volume, make the pages, tuck it in under the primary city, move on to the next city, right? So don't get lost in that. In fact, there's, there may be searches that have very, very low search volume that I won't target. It just depends on what the city is, how big the city is, right? So a smaller city is likely to have less searches and maybe even no searches. Just go off the search volume, right? These are things you can do later if you want to create the content around it, but especially starting out, target the big searches. Okay, so now we have commercial, we have roofers, Boise, we have roofing contractors again, roofing services, that's general contractor, American Roofing Supply, okay, a branded term. Commercial, roofer, branded, roofer, replacement, roofer, TPO roofing. Okay, there's another idea that we can hit. Now, I've been around roofing enough to know that that is a roofing system or a roofing type, even though I think if you're not a roofer, you might think that's a branded term. TPO roofing. I'm not an expert roofing. I'm around this a lot. Roofing repair, storm damage roof repair. And this is one of those that you're going to see in roofing. You're not going to see in a lot of other places, which is where you have these very oddball searches like storm, emergency, etc. Roofing has actually quite a bit of variation that I think a lot of roofers are unaware of. So roofing metal, roofing companies, branded, best, metal, roofing, emergency roofing services. Okay. Yep. We don't have that. So now we're almost starting to form this kind of, we can form another, like an emergency silo of emergency roofing. You may have a few emergency or storm roofing pages that can kind of play it within themselves, right, in this bigger section of the city. So local, I'm not going to use that. Commercial, roof replacement, okay, repair, residential roof replacement, okay. Now this, well, we don't need to, I don't think it needs to be overthought here, right? We're going to have residential roof replacement. So we might have this, I'm going to move this down. Okay, emergency roofing. Okay, let's put commercial down here in case that starts. Storm damage. So we almost also have this little, what I would call like roofing types or sub descriptors, right? So we have repair and replacement as like services, and we have like types of roofs, shingles, materials, styles that can go together. And then we have these like residential, commercial, emergency, okay, branded, contractors, EPDM. Once again, we can just do a search, but I'm pretty sure this is a type of roof. Yeah. So EPDM roofing. Let's grab that. Well, I don't want to, so I don't want to belabor the point here that we need to make. So I think GAF, I mean, man, it's just crazy how many searches there are in the roofing sector that you may not be targeting with your business, right? Commercial roof replacement, metal roofing, flat roof repair. So let's get to 20. I know this is a little long, but I want to get down to the searches that are under 20. So commercial roofing contractors, new roof cost. Okay. Once again, now some of these might end up on your blog. Maybe, you know, I like to put cost on a blog, but it doesn't matter where it goes. Cost is a huge page that people miss. Talking about cost has to be one of the best things you can talk about that people avoid. Now, roof leak repair, I'm going to put that under roof repair. Supplies, we're not a supplier. Most roofing companies aren't suppliers. PVC, standing seam metal. Roofing company, flat roof, roof installation. That's another one that I would consider a high level. Hail damage roof repair. Okay. Now that might be storm damage, right? But we can kind of put it in its own section. No reason not to create the content. Local roofing companies, roof gutter installers. So, you know, that to me is where you're starting to get kind of in this oddball spot. If you do gutters, then I would just target gutters and make a whole section for gutters. You'll be overlapping that search, right? But you can definitely target this if you'd like. Otherwise, I try to separate anything that's going to be a completely different category. If you target both, you can throw this keyword in your website. New construction roofing. That's great. I mean, who doesn't want the new construction? Roofing companies best. So notice the best, right? I think that's interesting. Metal roof repair. Okay. Let's go to metal. Now we have metal roofing, and we're going to have that have its own subsection. Metal roofers, Boise metal roofing, asphalt, shingles. Let's grab that. Free roof estimate. Perfect. Let's grab that. Average roof replacement cost. Okay, so that's just going to be a cost, right? New roof cost. Throw that in there. Supply, Standing seam metal roof. I thought we had. Yep. Metal roof, Boise, Idaho. Emergency industrial. So now we have emergency and industrial as a secondary. As this, let's grab this, put this up with emergency roofing. Boise commercial roof maintenance. So now we have commercial maintenance. Commercial roofs maintenance company. Commercial roof leak detection. Very interesting. Roofing contractors, roofing. So we're getting pretty close. South Boise roofing. Yeah, that's a company. Industrial roofing generally. Okay, let's put that here. Industrial. Okay, I'll just leave that. Emergency roof repair. I believe we have that. Urgent industrial roof services. So industrial roofing. Maybe that's a second. Commercial roof maintenance contracts. Okay. Leave that under maintenance. North Boise. So that's now we're getting into it, potentially another location that we may need to build out. Residential roofing, roof repair, flat roof, North Boise roofing. Sounds more like a company, but that would go in this other section. Roof restoration. Okay, there we go. Getting close here. Southeast Boise roof repair. So if that's not a company, that may be a Boise roofing inspection checklist. Okay, that makes a really good piece of potentially some content. Again, separator here. Industrial roof inspection. So, I mean, it's just bonkers how much content you could be making here, because roofing has such what I would call just high variation services. It's such a complex business, right? Emergency roof repair commercial. So emergency roof repair commercial. That's good. We don't have that. Industrial. South Boise roof repair. We have southeast, south. Urgent commercial roof repair. Commercial roof repair. Commercial roof inspection. I mean, how many jobs you need to get from this to make it worth it? Northwest Boise roofing. Okay, that's another location. So you can see that when a search gets real, when a search is super complicated and there's a lot of people in the area, you start to get this fracturing. Tile roofing, where people are even fractioning the city off in ways you may not expect. Like, I would never have expected a lot of these fracturing for people to be searching for literally distinct pieces of the location. Commercial roofing maintenance. I believe we have commercial and maintenance. Oh, maybe not. So, oh, there it is. Yeah, Boise commercial roof maintenance. Boise roofing services, professional commercial roof inspection. Okay, roofing inspection. Best roofer, metal roof. Commercial roofing inspection, roof inspection, commercial roofers, commercial roofing, roof leak repair. Okay, so, we'd want to make sure that content is on our roof repair. page. Maybe we could even make our own page around this. It's certainly possible. Flat roof maintenance. See, like so much specifics here. Find that very interesting. I'll put that here. Flat roof repair. So those would get tucked in together. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop at 20. So flat roof materials. So asphalt shingles. Asphalt shingle roof. I know I had something around that. Asphalt shingle roofing. Local commercial roofing maintenance. Commercial roof maintenance. Corrugated metal roofing. Wind and hail damage. So that, you know, that maybe we have a high level page there. Industrial roofing emergency repair. I mean, you've got to think that is, if you could rank for that term, those are huge jobs. Emergency industrial roof repair. Okay, so we do have that page. Commercial roofing inspection. Commercial roof inspection service. Northwest Boise roof repair. So now we have another fractioning of the Northeast Boise roofing. Wow. That people are getting down to the exact areas. Commercial roofing emergency. We have emergency commercial. Roof repair. Commercial roofing emergency. So let's put that in here. Okay. Roofing West Boise roof repair. Wow. That actually blows my mind how many location-based searches there are. Emergency commercial roofing. Emergency commercial roofing. My brain is starting to break, as I'm well aware. Okay. Scheduled commercial roof inspection. So having, maybe in this case, right, we want to have like a schedule page and just by having that schedule an inspection. Commercial roof maintenance and commercial roof repair. So I think this gives us a lot of what we need. Now we can always come back through and use the unused pages and content later. If I have stuff that's at the 20s, right? I want to use that all up at some point. I want to have all the ideas integrated into my content, right? Why not? You know, if there's some kind of roof that is really, really valuable, all roofs are, but it's really niche, and I can have content on that, even though it only gets 20 searches a month, that's potentially another customer. So you have to think about 20 searches at a 5. Let's say you can get out of those 20 searches, you know, you can get 5 leads or 3 leads, and you can close one of those leads or a half. So one every other month. How many of those are here? Right. So I always find that it's the most niche services that no one else targets. Those are the ones, right? So now I'm going to, you know, what can I do here with this information? Well, I'm going to create pages. So each of these becomes a page on the website, right? Done. Now I can also take all of these, take Boise out of them, and I can place them on the Google Business profile, right? So I can actually go to the services. So in the product section of the Google Business profile, I'm going to link every product, which is all of these, to a page on the website right here, the page. Then I'm going to go into the services section. I'm going to put in all of these services, right? And list all of those out, which I have found, especially for niche services, can have a massively positive impact on those, right? So this should give you a pretty good idea, though, of the keywords you want to target and the way people are searching for your services. So what is the best case? Let's take this from worst case to best case on your website. Worst case is you have a one-page website, doesn't even mention any of this stuff or most of this stuff at all. Next step up is you have a couple pages and you talk about a little bit of this, right? Next step up is you have a city page for Boise or whatever city you're in, and it mentions a lot of this stuff, right? You have a roof repair, it says roof replacement, commercial, it has the words. So it has a lot of these words on it, but it's not really content rich. And that takes us to the end of this, which is what is the best that you can have here is you have pages on every unique idea in that city that gets search volume, and those pages are targeted towards those searches. And when someone searches for PVC roofing, Google doesn't even have to think twice. That's what you have to understand about this process. You do not want Google to guess if you do something. So if PVC roofing is on my Google business profile, I have some reviews with it. I have some Google business profile posts with it. I have some pictures of it on my Google business profile. And then I have it in my services section, and I have it in my product section, and I have a page on it, and it's mentioned on a few other pages that link to it. That's going to give Google a pretty good idea that I am a good candidate for these 40 people who are searching for PVC roofing. And that's how you want to think about this. You want to leave no doubt, right? Google hates gray area. It doesn't want to guess, so you have to support it. Now, like I said, if you go look for your business, you search for PVC roofing and your homepage is popping up and your Google business profile, don't worry about that. It doesn't mean the page isn't doing what it's supposed to do, which is support your content. So I hope that makes sense. So this gives you just an idea of one city. Now I'm going to want to go build this out for every city in our area, right, for this business. And then if they have multiple locations, I'm going to do it in all the cities they serve in those locations. And that's how I'm going to build this out, right? Especially with roofing, this can be an almost infinite task. There are so many keywords, and Boise isn't even that big of a city. Like, there's so many keywords. People don't understand roofing. Roofing is so technical and has so much variation, right? So as much as Google likes the certainty, people love the certainty. If I'm looking for somebody and I'm saying I need a PVC roof, I'm probably asking myself, I don't even know what that is. Right? What is a standing seam metal roof? I don't know. I just know I have it and I need to find somebody who knows. So you want to communicate that to your customers with your content. And that all starts with strong keyword research. So I hope that this is more than helpful and makes sense. If you have questions or you want to talk about how we rank roofing businesses, it's one of our, highest professions that we help, right? That's one of my favorites to help. Feel free to reach out. We're Relentless Local SEO now, relentlesslocalseo.com. You can apply there for our program. We're very strict with who we take, right? We only want to help people we can help win. This just gives you an idea of where we would start. Hopefully this is helpful no matter what level you're at here on your roofing business. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Thanks.